I'm Christian with Vision Interactive here at the Dallas Digital Summit 2016 with Michael Barber. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I run a small agency called Barber and Hewitt. We focus largely on B2B brands that are doing about 5 to 50 million in revenue, mostly on strategy and planning.
Awesome. And you had a talk about email marketing. So can you tell us a little bit about that and to the modern consumer, what some of the trends are?
Yeah, absolutely. So the talk was specifically around 3 core things that we like to see from email campaigns for the modern consumer. One of those being portable, right? You've got to make sure you're developing and designing emails for a portable consumer, for someone that's on the go. So from a design and deliverability perspective, it's got to be able to resonate with someone in a very mobile context. You know, gone are the days where we read email where we're strapped to a desk and a keyboard and mouse. We read email largely on our phones these days to begin with. We often take conversions when we're sitting back down at our desk, but that first touch with the consumer, regardless if it's B2B or B2C, is on the phone. Next big thing is personalization, right? You've got all this data on people, from both first-party data that you're getting from opt-in forms, subscription preferences. You've got third-party data from any number of the social networks. We've got a ton of data on our inbox subscribers, and we're really able to tap into that data these days to really create a personalized experience. And the third one is prescriptive. Gone are the days where we can really think we own this channel with consumers. They've got better tools, better platforms, better apps to weed out all the noise in their inbox. We've got to make sure we're making that relationship a one-to-one and allowing them to really define their frequency when they want to hear from us, so that we're not bombarding their inboxes.
And how do you make yourself stand out above the crowd? I mean, now there's promotions folders. It's like you have everything all,
Yeah.
You're having to stand above.
On the promotions tab, what's interesting is we know from just stats and research that it hasn't affected deliverability, and it hasn't affected the propensity of a consumer to actually check those promotions tabs. There's a lot of data, a lot of data out there that shows that it didn't make that much difference. But we know people are getting more and more emails. So the question becomes is, how timely, targeted, and relevant can you get to make sure that your email is in that inbox when they're looking and it says the right thing? And that gets back to really understanding those consumers' behaviors, right? When are they looking in their inbox, delivering it at that time, looking at things like purchase history and purchase intent and what they are interested in, what pages that they looked at in your website, and making sure all of those things are tailored really well from them from a personability perspective.
Awesome. And are there any brands that you really love that are good examples of doing email marketing well?
For sure, there's a ton out there. Alaska Airlines is a good one, especially to look at from a before and after sort of perspective. A few months ago, they were doing, I wouldn't say from a deliverability and content perspective things were bad, but from a design perspective, they were just doing too much inside of their email campaigns. They've really reduced all of the additional noise in their campaigns, made the buttons bigger, made the fonts bigger, really made it better for a mobile consumer. I think there's other good brands out there. Kit and Ace is a great one that's doing a lot of things from email well. Bonobos, another good menswear retailer that's doing incredible things with email. They customize buttons for different sizes that you've bought in the past. They do some really interesting nuances to try and make sure that it's relevant for their customer.
Cool. And is there anything we really shouldn't do? Like, is there any really bad example that, like, definitely do not do this in your email marketing?
Do not buy lists, okay? All of the data that we know shows that all the metrics that we care about as marketers when it comes to email, opens, click-through rates, complaint rate, unsubscribe, they all go in the wrong directions the more that we have public lists or bot lists inside of our email subscription database.
Good tips.
Yeah.
And you have a keynote coming up.
I do, yeah.
Can you give us a little sneak peek of what that'll be about?
Absolutely. It's about friction. So how do you reduce friction inside of your organization and with all of the things you're doing from a product or service perspective for people, right? So we know that there is one thing that is the most valuable human asset, and that is time. More than ever, we are bombarded by our notifications on our phones, all the social networks we're participating in, and this massive amount of FOMO that we have as people these days. And this presentation really gets at the heart of those particular issues and how you can create a framework for trying to reduce friction with those interactions with customers and people.
Interesting. And for 2017, any predictions coming up?
The predictions question. I think from a consumer perspective, and that's where I really try and focus my time, I think you're going to see consumers really shift their time and attention to one place, right? So they are going to be spending probably less time on multiple different channels, right? And really focusing their effort and their time on being in one place or the other, rather than being just everywhere. I think consumers are just bombarded by all the channels and applications and places they have to, quote unquote, have to be. I think next year is going to be about getting that they're going to be looking at those places that they like to spend time, that gives them their reward, that really gives them an experience that they care about. So from a consumer perspective, I think we're going to see, them really go to channels they care about and be spending their time there. From a marketing perspective, I think you're going to see a little bit of a renaissance around some of the old channels like email. I think the growth and return on investment around email is going to continue. At an aggregate perspective, I think you're going to see brands do a really good job of getting customer service and customer experience down pat, because people just want to be able to do business. They want to be able to buy and get out. Things like Amazon Go and things that they've just debuted this, right, is how do you create this environment where people can just do what they need to do and not be bothered, because we just want to have more time in our day to do the things that we love doing.
True. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, absolutely.